Alright, so, what's up, guys? I got a bit of a special video today, as you might have noticed by, either the title or the thumbnail or what have you in that. I've got a guest with me, and that guest is the one, the only, the legend, who goes by the name PrinCessS. Now, of my 25 subscribers that I have, only probably 2 of them actually know who PrinCessS is. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. 4 of them, maybe? I'm not really sure. Not the majority of you. But that's okay, because you're going to know PrinCessS. No, this, I don't know why, but this girl, this entity, she really fascinates me with her existence, and so, yeah, we're gonna dive into the mind of such a lass, I guess you could say. I don't think I've ever called a woman a lass before. That's, I don't know. But yeah, no, so let's get into it. Alright then, so, I'm here now with PrinCessS, so that everyone is aware of that. And, I guess we're just gonna discuss a few things. So, let me pull up some of my quotes here, just so I can keep track of, all of the things we had intended to discuss. I guess maybe the first thing is we'll just talk about, the fact that you're the newest vegan member of, well, not necessarily the newest one, but, you're one of the new vegan members of the Ask Yourself server. You've been there for a while, but you just recently transitioned. So, maybe tell me a little bit about why you did that, like how you came to that decision.
Well, I wanted to be vegan because of my health. Because I don't think I'm well right now.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. There may not be a lot of new information that I'm receiving here because I feel like we've kind of discussed a lot of this. But you're having problems with your heart, right? Like it was like arrhythmia or something like that.
Yeah, when I went to the hospital, like they said that I have like a heart problem, and then they said I have a hyperthyroid. So
Hypo
that's why I want to be vegan.
Wait, hypothyroid or hyperthyroid?
Hyperthyroid.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't really know much about that, but I do know as far as heart problems are concerned, there is a lot of research that shows like a vegan diet helps with heart disease. So that definitely is a smart decision. And I know we talked about this too a
Yeah.
little bit, but like, are you convinced on the ethics of veganism? Because it seems like I've seen you kind of like debating with people about that. I was actually really happy to see you doing that, vouching for the team. Uh,
Yeah. But I think I'm doing it for health reason, but I'm starting to do it for the animals too, for ethics.
yeah, that's really cool. I mean, like, I don't do you know what exactly changed your mind about that? Like when you kind of started thinking more about the animals and things of that nature.
It started when I was like looking at my plate and looking at the fish I was eating. It has like a head still, so like I was looking at it and I feel like disgusted at it. So I feel like I don't want to eat it anymore. Maybe it started by feeling that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that was a creature that was alive at one point, existent and whole, and it became not that way for you to consume its flesh. So I can see how that'd be a little disturbing. Of course, a lot of people don't even make that connection, so it's an insight of you, I guess you could say, or it's insightful of you. I'm not sure if that was,
Yeah.
but okay, yeah. So I guess that's about it for that one. So I'm not sure what the next thing we want to talk about is. I guess we could talk about because you have a few interesting things you've discussed on the server, a little bit less than the traditional, I guess, or well, in a way you could see them as traditional, but unorthodox views, I guess you could say. So on several occasions you've talked about how you consider like women inferior to men in a lot of ways. So like, can you go into detail about that?
Well, I feel like men are superior than us, than women, because I feel like men should be the leader and to be the like dominant one in a relationship or whatever, right?
Um, Yeah, I mean, but like, is there a particular reason you feel that way, or is that just like what you learned growing up, like that sort of thing?
Like in general too, yeah.
Um, hmm. So like, I don't know, what kind of traits do you see men having that makes them better leaders?
Well, I think they're like more responsible and they have like logical thinking as compared to like women.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure there are some logical women out there, right? Like, what do you think about women who like want to take charge more, like who want to be leaders?
Yeah, of course they can, but typically women like stay at home and taking care of kids and stuff. So when they make decision and stuff, they always based it on their emotion compared to men. That's the weakness, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any like conclusive evidence or position on that, but I have heard that as a thing. Women may have like a higher propensity of emotion. I mean, to be fair, that might kind of be stereotypes or whatever, right? Like the whole kind of thing of a self fulfilling prophecy. You say women are supposed to be emotional, and then they are. I mean, I have no doubt that certain differences exist, but it just seems like to say that women are inherently worse at one thing or uh, I mean, I guess come to think of it, maybe it's I guess maybe I shouldn't put it that way because there are some things that they're like objectively worse at, like weightlifting, for example. Like men just have more testosterone, so that helps them with things like that. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is a little interesting, but it's not the most PC of viewpoints, I guess you could say. Oh, that actually that brings me. We kind of use this to segue into another point, but do you think that your religion has anything to do with that, right? Like because you're a Muslim, I take it.
Yeah. Yeah, in our society or in our religion, like men's supposed to like lead everything, like a woman have to like how do you say like follow them in a way. So that's why I said that men should be the leader and women should lead. I mean, women should follow.
Yeah, but like, don't you think maybe this isn't based on any kind of like evidence or anything like that? It's more just your faith in your religion that leads you to feel this way. I'm not saying there is no evidence. I'm just saying like that might be why you feel that way.
Yeah, because like I'm not that religious, but in society, I guess in a family, like men should be like breadwinner, like how do you say that? Like they should not be weak, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, but should anyone be weak? I mean, I tend to think being mentally resilient is always a positive. I've also met many
Because
females
I
in my
think that everyone, like in the families, uh, uh, is going to like depend on the man,
well,
so
I
they
guess
have to be strong.
traditionally that is the way of things, but like I guess my question is why necessarily couldn't they depend on the woman? I mean, you don't have to answer it right now. I just
Oh,
it's like
something's wrong.
it's
Oh,
wrong. Okay, I mean, I guess if that's how you really feel, that's it just might be something for you to think about. I guess. So
okay. Oh, good.
so we have a few other things that are tangential related to your religious beliefs. One of them is I'm losing my train of thought right now. One of them is related to like destiny, like predetermination, and then one of them is related to circumcision. So which issue do you want to tackle first?
Circumcision, I guess.
You want to talk about circumcision? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're in favor of cutting the dick skin off of babies.
To be exact, male babies,
Well, yeah, okay, male
not
babies, but
female.
so that is a question I would have. Those why specifically male babies? Why not female babies as well?
Because I think that male babies, how do you say that? I think that it's a purpose for male but not for female because I think that when you cut it for male, it's cleaner, and you can also like lead the prayer.
Okay, so in the Islamic faith, then you need to be circumcised to lead the prayer, but like, why is that necessary? That's the other thing is like, if traditionally men lead the prayer, what is the shape and like I guess structure of their penis have to do with their ability to lead the prayer?
Because I think even in Islam, it's cleaner that way.
Well, yeah, but you do realize that like people have made that argument before, right?
Like,
Like it's
I guess you
cleaner.
have to be like physically clean, I guess.
Well, yeah, but people have made that argument before, right? Like it's more clean to
Right?
be. Well, people have made that argument for circumcision that it's more clean to be circumcised. But you do realize that like you can wash underneath your foreskin, right? Like that's what I feel like if you can't figure out how to wash underneath the foreskin of your penis, you're probably not a very I don't know.
But it's not like physically clean in that way, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess my question is, if you can wash under it, then what necessarily makes it more dirty? Like, I feel like, yeah, I mean, technically, you may be less likely to get like dirt and bacteria there if you're not circumcised. But that's kind of like saying women should like cut their labia so they're less likely to get yeast infections. And the funny thing is that some women actually do that. It's called labiaplasty. That's why I actually find the idea of like female circumcision odd, right? Like the practice of removing the clitoris, because to me that doesn't seem like circumcision. I feel like labiaplasty is closer to female circumcision, and then female circumcision is just fucking horrendous, like awful mutilation. I mean, I consider circumcision also mutilation, but like that's to a higher degree. I'd be like if you like cut off the head of the penis, the glands. Um, okay, we lost Princess for a second. You say something? Anything? Um,
Okay, we're back.
Okay, yeah, you dropped out for a second. So, yeah, I mean, do you have any other
Yeah.
arguments for circumcision? Because I feel like the cleanliness argument is pretty weak right there. I mean, especially when you consider that's the other thing is like we kind of think of genitals as being dirty, but like they're kind of not as dirty as we really think they are. Like
I guess that would be the main reason.
well, I guess it's kind of like
I guess the term is not like physically clean. It's like the term, if you like cut it, it would be clean in Islamic term, I guess.
so like spiritually clean. You're cleansing the soul of the penis.
I
Foreskin is
wouldn't
evil.
say that, but if you want to say it, I guess.
Foreskin is satanic. Okay. Um, but no, I mean, like, what do you think about the potential consequences to the child, right? Because like we've talked about this before, obviously, but like you do know that like there's a lot of nerve endings and feeling like within the foreskin. Like I think again from what I've read, like I think it's the majority of the nerve endings. Like the most sensitive part of it is actually the foreskin. Not to mention like it protects the glands of the penis, so you know they're healthier, shinier, makes them more sensitive. Like just the foreskin serves a purpose. Is my point. It serves an actual biological function.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't make any difference if you like Snape or not Snape in that. Um, I mean, I guess it looks good if you cut it,
Um, yeah,
but
but again, it's kind of like the whole labiaplasty thing, right? Like a lot of times women get it because they think it'll make their vagina look better. But it's kind of like I can understand like porn stars doing that. I guess if that's what they really want to do. But those are consenting adults, right? Like imagine if we forced women to get labiaplasty like when they were babies and they couldn't even like consent to that. Like that seemed pretty fucked up, right?
yeah, but a circumcision you usually do it when they're small. I guess it's easier when they're small, and if if you do it when you're an adult, I guess
Well, you
you'll
can
be
do it
doing
as an
like a
adult, right? Like
surgery, I guess.
it's a surgical procedure. You get local
Yeah,
anesthetic.
surgical.
I mean, vegan gains even got a circumcision as an adult. I'm dead serious.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
no, that happened. He made a video about it. If you want, you can watch it. Not right now, obviously.
Okay.
Um, But yes, I mean, I don't know. I think we've exhausted that topic, but I wholeheartedly,
I
I,
guess,
I,
yeah.
I think your position on this is insane, just for the record. So, on to the next topic, I guess, is destiny, so predetermination. So, like, what do you think about the concept of destiny? You know, that idea that everything is everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I believe like we all like predestined to like like we're supposed to like choose that particular path that will lead in our life. I feel like it's already determined by God.
Well, yeah, but you said we're supposed to choose, so it's kind of like if we're supposed to choose, then logically that means that it's not.
Like we don't have free will, I guess. It must happen that way. We don't have any choice.
It's not contradictory to the Quran, because I've never read the Quran, but I know in most Abrahamic religions there's this idea that humans do have free will.
But I feel like we don't have a choice. Like it's supposed to happen that way. That's why you say that everything happened for a reason, because the reason is already determined by God. That's what I believe.
Hmm. I mean, I guess by your logic, I can see that. Um, I believe in predeterminism, but in kind of a less like spiritual, kind of meaningful way. I guess you could say it's more kind of that idea that like because I accept the law of causality and everything as a cause, I kind of feel like my actions are already predetermined by things that will influence me. So it's kind of like that idea that like if you put all the atoms in the universe in the exact same spot that they were like at the moment of the Big Bang, then all of the same things would happen, which would include all of the decisions that I ever made, that sort of thing. I guess you would call it like secular fate,
Oh.
secular determinism. What do you think about that idea? All right, so you're ready to continue our brilliant conversation. All right. Anyway, so did you hear all of the things I said
Yeah.
about like? Did you hear all the things I said about like secular determinism?
Yeah, I heard that. So you mean that a situation will lead to another situation, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like if I roll a ball across a table and then that knocks into I don't know, a cup or some object on the table and then that object falls. The object fell because I rolled the ball. So it's kind of like rolling the ball of the universe, I
Yeah.
guess you could say.
Yeah.
In a way, I guess I feel like I'm the cup and I'm just falling into whatever situation the universe has thrown me into.
So you believe in like universe determines that it's not like a superpower or like God that did that, because
Yeah, I
it
mean,
begins with you.
yeah, fundamentally, I don't really see any kind of like magical or spiritual quality to the universe. I guess you could say. I mean, if I was shown undeniable evidence that this was the case, then I would believe it. But it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like there's pretty easy explanations for most of the evidence that you could produce for some kind of like divine being that was like guiding the actions of the universe.
What if like you're meant to meet someone and fall in love, for example? Do you think that like God has his hand on it, or it's only you that
Well,
made it
I
happen?
think that love has a like it's an emotional response in humans, so I think it mainly just comes down to like how my brain works. I mean, it definitely feels very special and magical to me, but I think objectively in the universe, I don't think it really has any significance. I mean, sorry, this may seem like kind of a bleak way to look at the world for to you, but that's just kind of how I see it. I mean, I like to
What
look at
if like you're supposed to meet someone in that place?
in what do you mean by that place? Do you mean like heaven?
Have you ever heard of the term kismet before?
Kismet? No, I don't. I don't believe so.
Yeah, it means like God.
All right, cool. So I kind of forgot where we. All right, you were talking about this term kismet.
Yeah, it means like God has his hand on like someone meeting the other person, like the destiny is supposed to meet that person and fall in love and get married or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in God to begin with, so it's kind of like that doesn't really make sense to me necessarily. But it's kind of like if um if God has his hand in the formation of relationships, then why doesn't every relationship work out, right? Like sometimes you fail, you break
Like
up.
you have to, because you have to work for that relationship. You can't like just settle and think that everything gonna be okay. You have to work every single day. It's like a fire, you have to like light it up, or the spark will like dim and you lose. Like you don't have that uh relationship anymore if you don't work at it.
Well, yeah, but like if everything is predetermined, then it theoretically I don't have a choice in how hard I work, right? Like it's just I'll either work hard or I won't. It's already set in stone.
Yeah, true. But I guess you don't know that, so you work hard for it. You want it to work. If it doesn't work, it means that you're not supposed to be with that person, right?
Yeah, but I guess my point is, if I wasn't supposed to be with that person, then why would God bring us together in the first place?
Maybe you're supposed to learn something for that from that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair enough. I don't know. It's just it seems a little contradictory to me, I guess you could say, but maybe not. Um, so is that all you wanted to say about Destiny, or do you have anything more to offer on that?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, okay, I think we have one more topic at least. Let me just double check. Uh, yeah, it looks like. Okay, the death penalty, right? So you support the death penalty, and specifically, you think that the the sellers of illicit goods, so I guess like drug dealers or including ones that are selling marijuana, should be killed, right? So that they should have the death penalty for that.
Wow, I don't believe that, but it's because of my country's law that says if you like I think distribute or like you have a certain amount of like the drugs, you'll be like hang.
Yeah, but I thought you agreed with this, right? Because like there were a few quotes where, all right, so one of them you said that what was it? You said that hanging was a humane form of or was the most humane form of capital punishment. So that's agreeing with the method. And then you also said something like it was hypocritical for vegans to not support the death penalty.
Yeah, but it's not because of like that reason that they distribute drugs or whatever that they will get that punishment. But I feel like the most humane form of capital punishment is hanging because it just like snap your neck and you don't feel any pain. That's why I feel that it's most humane.
Well, unless it doesn't work and then you just like strangle to death. But then the other thing about that is like just because your neck is broken doesn't necessarily mean you're not feeling any pain, right? Like your brain could still be active and it just doesn't have any like communication to the rest of your body.
But you don't feel any pain that way, right?
Well, you'd
Because
still
your body and your brain
well, it's not connected to
did
your
not
body, but
connect.
you might still be able to feel pain in your neck, I guess, like from your head to wherever your neck broke.
But you will be dead. You won't feel anything.
Yeah, but like, would you actually? I'm not sure that you'd die immediately, right? Like, there'd be. I guess it would be just like until your brain lost oxygen, right? Because your heart would stop beating. But like, it wouldn't. The only way to get
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
But the only way to instantly kill someone is to like shoot them in the head, right? To just completely destroy their brain. So it's kind of like the I mean, actually, sometimes people survive a bullet to the head, but I guess theoretically speaking, a bullet to the back of the head would actually be more humane, right?
But I think the act of doing that, it's really like barbarian, I would say.
You think that hanging someone isn't barbaric?
Because I think that you just have a rope and they just put around that person's neck and just like snap the neck
Yeah, just
and they
brutally
die.
like break off the connection between their brain and the rest of their, I don't know, their physical
Yeah.
form. I think your image of what it's like for someone to have their neck broken is a little bit prettier than mine. I, well, also like
I
a lot of times
guess.
it's like their face turns blue because they got like blood pooling in different parts of their body and like it's not running out of oxygen. It's
But
not
I
the
think everything is like intact. Depend like if you like shoot someone at the back of the person's head, like the brain will just like explode or whatever, right? So if like, you just hanging that person, it won't be as bad, I would say.
I mean, I'd definitely prefer to be hung as opposed to like or hanged. I guess hung is like when you have a
Yeah,
big
so
neck
you
or something.
agree then?
Um, the well, no, definitely like I'd prefer it to some, but like, all right, do you know how they execute people like in the first world when they do capital punishment?
Yeah, I think gas chamber, right? Or like poison
I'm pretty sure
injection or something like that, right?
I want to say the standard practice in those places is lethal injection, which basically means they
Yeah.
just inject you with a series of chemicals that just kind of like shut down your bodily functions. Like, don't you think that's probably a more humane way than to hang someone?
No, I don't think so because you're like putting something inside of someone's body that is poisonous and and it's killing that person. I don't
Well,
think
yeah, but
it's the
it's
most humane.
yeah, but it's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be painful, right? Like I think they inject you with I don't know if it's that the substance itself isn't painful or they just inject you with another thing that makes you not feel pain. I guess there is some debate about that actually. I remember like whether or not lethal injection is actually painless. It's just theoretically supposed to be, I guess is my point. Um, they have experimented with things like inert gas. So like for example, if they put you in a gas chamber with like helium, for example, I don't know if helium would be a good thing, but like some other thing other than oxygen, you won't actually get that suffocation
Yeah,
feeling where it's like
I
because
heard
like
about that.
well, because like you know how you hold your breath and you get the burning sensation in your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens because of carbon dioxide buildup in your body. So like it's kind of that urge to like get it out. But when you have inert gas, you're still removing the carbon dioxide from your body. You're just not replenishing it with oxygen. So the you don't actually get that like burning sensation. You just kind of get lightheaded and then you pass out, and that's about it.
You pass out and you just die, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I heard about that with someone said um, that it would be the most humane way to kill someone. I mean, for the capital punishment, I guess. But I don't know. I think like hanging is the most humane. Even if you find another way to kill that person, I feel that
Well, yeah, all right.
it would be the best.
I want you to define humane for me. Like, what is your criteria for what is humane or what is not humane?
I guess less painful for that person. Like, and it's instantly. That's why it's most humane.
No, but in essence, my point is death by inert gas isn't actually painful. Like, you just get lightheaded and then you pass out and then you just stop, like, living. Like, there's no, as far to my knowledge anyway, there's no pain involved.
But I think it's one of the new procedure. I mean, a way to kill someone. I don't think you have a lot of like cases to support that it doesn't um have any pain. You don't feel any pain
Well, you
because
can
I think
say,
it's
like,
pretty new, right?
you could say after they pass out, you don't necessarily know if they're in pain or not, right? Because after that, you never hear from them again. kind of the same issue with lethal injection, but you'd have the same issue with hanging too, right? You don't actually know if they feel pain or not because you've never been hanged to death.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty new and you don't really know if it works or not.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely
I
you
think
can.
hanging has been like around for a and people use it.
Well, that's an appeal to tradition, right? Just because something's been around for a long time doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, that's true.
So the problem with hanging that I see is kind of like what I was saying, the neck snapping thing, right? Like your brain would still be active for a few minutes probably, so you'd definitely be able to feel the pain of like where your neck broke off. And then but the other thing, there is actually a way to hang someone and not have it be like super painful. It's if you do it so it doesn't break the neck, but it just like cuts off the carotid arteries, right? It's like the arteries leading up to the brain. Then it's kind of the same thing as the inert gas. Like you basically just get sleepy and then you pass out.
Yeah, true. I think that like in Islam that when you like try to like kill animals or like let me give you an example like chicken for
Also,
example,
for the
right?
record, that
You just
actually
cut
the method of
the
cutting off the carotid
in
arteries,
front of the neck, like you said, what artery is that?
the carotid artery. The thing about the carotid artery though is
Oh,
we actually have verification that cutting off the carotid arteries is a painless way to die, and the reason we do have that is because like people have tried to kill themselves by hanging, right? Like if they I guess do it in a certain way where they do that. Like you can have there's anecdotal accounts of like they'll say it's just kind of like fading out of existence, like they didn't really feel anything, which is why like people who are just like trying it out could accidentally hurt themselves, could accidentally like actually kill themselves and they don't mean to, or at least not yet, I guess you could say, because like they don't realize that they're like actually losing consciousness until it's too late. um
yeah.
yeah, no.
So
But
why
all
do you
right,
think like people choose that as like um a way to kill themselves?
well, because most people don't have access to like lethal injection or like euthanasia, I guess you could say. So they would do that instead. But that's the other thing is euthanasia, right? Like that's the way we put down animals, like things like dogs when they can't like when they're just gonna suffer and they can't live anyway. So we that's how we I guess humanely put them out of their misery. It's like why wouldn't you think that euthanasia would be more humane than hanging? Like it's commonly recognized as a
Yeah,
humane way to kill someone.
mercy killing, right? Ending someone's life because they're in pain and they couldn't like stand being alive anymore.
No, no, no. But
You mean by injecting into themselves?
we're not talking about that though. The I guess my point is euthanasia is the means of mercy killing for most like animals, I guess. And the reason for that is because it's considered widely to be more humane. So I guess my question is why wouldn't you think that I mean, I guess you'd call that an appeal to popularity, but like I believe there are reasons to think that it's a more gentle way to go, I guess you could say. Um,
But if you don't have any pain, like someone's trying to end your life, I don't really understand what you mean by like mercy killing. And in like conjunction or something with uh
Princess,
like
I'm not trying to
killing
talk
by
about mercy
hanging.
killing. I'm just trying to talk about the whole like killing method. Whether or not you think we should mercy kill animals is a
uh,
different story. But like, I mean, I guess if you want to
uh
talk about that, like me personally, if I was just in horrible pain and like we pretty much knew I was gonna die anyway, I'd prefer you just kill me and not make me like suffer for however long until I like eventually die anyway.
but I think you have to sign something like give permission to like kill you. But what if you didn't sign anything? That person would be in trouble,
Yeah,
right?
but what if I couldn't like consent to being killed? Like it's sort of. I think the vast majority of like I don't know.
Your family would have to do that. If you're in a hospital, like doctor will do that.
Yeah, but couldn't
It's
you
not like
say that
your
like
family
for a
personally kill you.
couldn't you say that for a pet dog though, like their owners are pretty much like their family?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it kind of makes
Like
sense.
usually like you like send your like dog for example um to be put down.
I guess my point is, I think the vast majority of people would prefer to like be mercy killed, I guess you could say, than be forced to suffer and then just die eventually. I mean, someone who wants to live, right? They will have a reason to want to live. They'll have like something to live for, which gives them fulfillment. But someone who's just only experiencing suffering, like there's no reason for them to be alive anymore. Like I literally it would be impossible for someone who's only experiencing suffering to want to live. Like that's just incompatible with reality.
Yeah. What if like you're in a coma, for example? Do you want your life support to like
Well, no, but that's different, right? Because if I was in a coma, I wouldn't necessarily be feeling pain. I mean, actually, if I was in a coma and my brain activity was like non-existent, then it would be impossible for me to feel pain because I wouldn't be sentient at that time.
oh, you're gonna talk about sentient now?
Well, we don't have to discuss sentience. I mean, that's just the reality. It's the reality of the situation that
Yeah.
brains cause sentience. So if I didn't have any brain function, then I wouldn't be sentient. I'd be incapable of suffering.
But you see, like a vegetable, right?
Yeah,
You will call that person vegetable.
yeah. No, a vegetable. I think it's pretty clear that a vegetable is not capable of feeling any kind of pain or suffering. Now, I wouldn't want you to kill
Nah,
me.
it's not sentient.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't want you to kill me if I was a vegetable, at least if I had the chance of waking up, because then I might become sentient again. So it's like I would think that, I'd prefer to eventually live again if that was possible. If there was no chance of me ever waking up, then yeah, you could kill me. I wouldn't care.
But I feel like people tend to like shut the life support to see if that person can like breathe on their own to see that they want to live, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think it's okay to see if they can live on their own, but like, I don't think you should just kill them. Like, if they can't breathe, like if you think they might be able to again at some point.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what the doctor says, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like at some point, you kind of got to put faith in the medical professionals a little bit because they probably know more than you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, have we exhausted this topic, or is this? All right, actually,
Yeah.
I was gonna give my opinion on what I think is the most humane way of killing. So, or at least like the most preferable way to die. So my whole thinking is, I feel like a heavy, like lethal dose of narcotics, right, like heroin or something like that, would probably be the most painless way to die. Just because like heroin is actually a pain killing drug and like it creates a sense of euphoria. So really, you basically just have like immense amounts of bliss before you then like faded out of existence. Like in my opinion, that would be my preferred way to die if I had to die in like some manner.
You have to be like overdose for that substance to like die. If
Yeah,
not, you'll be like happy.
yeah, exactly.
You
Like
enjoy your life.
I'd be fucking loving the rest of my existence. I'd be in like utter, just like
Yeah.
pure bliss. I would enjoy dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
But I don't think that would be like one of the way to kill people. I don't think so.
yeah, probably not. I don't know why. I mean, maybe just because they can't get that much fucking heroin or just like whatever. But
Yeah, true.
that's how I would want to go, is being injected with just like a massive overdose of heroin.
Like you want to be happy before you die, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Right? It just seems like the most pleasant way to go.
Yeah. If you're a criminal, I don't think like the government wants you to be happy before you die.
Well, I don't see. That's the thing, is I feel like I'm maybe a little weird in this way, but like generally speaking, I don't want anyone to suffer really if they don't have to. Like I think that criminals should be put in prison if they're like a danger to other people, just because the other people deserve to be safe, and this person is putting them in jeopardy. But like if we can make them comfortable in their prison so that like they're just contained, but like they're not actually suffering, like I would prefer that, because like once they've been dealt with,
Don't you think that like a waste of like resources or whatever, right? Like we put them in jail.
well, that's the thing is I don't think that like the people who are not committing crimes, the people who are not trying to harm others, they're more deserving of those resources, right? So it's like if it was at a significant detriment to like the rest of society who's actually law abiding, yeah, I wouldn't be in favor of that. But it's like if we had the ability, then I mean, I think it's like I don't know, I would consider it immoral to make them like suffer more than they have to.
Yeah. Do you think that capital punishment should be like abolished?
I think obligatory capital punishment should be abolished, right? So it's sort of like if someone was convicted of murder and they were going to spend life in prison, right? I think what it should be is it should be an option. So they should be like, okay, you can either spend life in prison or we can kill you. And so they would have the option of like, if they don't want to spend life in prison, they can just like, they can choose the death penalty. But like, if they think like they'd rather live for whatever reason, or they think maybe like eventually new evidence will come up and they'll be found innocent just because like, maybe they really are innocent. Because that is that is actually one criticism of the death penalty is that the legal system isn't perfect. So it's like if you find out later they are innocent, then they're already dead, so you can't do anything about it. But I guess that's my point. I think the death penalty should be an optional alternative, not like a thing that's forced upon people.
Yeah, true. But I think that people like in jail usually like just kill themselves if they don't want to like spend their life in prison.
Yeah, but usually they won't let prisoners kill themselves, right? Like if you like they don't give you
But it
anything to do it with.
happened.
Yeah, no, it does happen. People figure out how to do it, but generally they try to prevent it, I guess is my point. But that's the thing, why even force them to like just fucking find ways to kill themselves in prison? Like it's like if they would prefer to die, why not just let them die? Like that's my position on it.
But do you think they will choose that?
Some people might. Some people legitimately think life in prison is so terrible that they would rather be dead. And other people are like, fuck it, I'll live in prison as opposed to like
So
to
it's
not.
like it's better someone killing you rather than you kill yourself.
I don't think I said that. I guess my point is my point is that what is it? I guess technically yeah, it kind of is because it's like if they're killing them against their will is kind of my point. It's like I feel like they should get to decide whether they'd like to die or whether they'd like to be in prison because like some people would prefer to die and some people prefer to live in prison. It's
Yeah, true. I guess it based on their personality. What do you think about that?
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know what the kind of personality it'd be. Me personally, I don't know because I just feel like I don't think I'm the kind of person that would do well in prison, right? Like I think I would just like suffer immensely there. So I feel like in that situation, I might honestly decide just to have myself killed.
Well, it depends on where you are, like what prison you are in, right?
That's true. Well, that's the thing is it's kind of like we were saying about the whole like you're spending resources to make them comfortable in prison that could be going to other people, but it's kind of like I think there should be a bare minimum standard, right? Like it's like because we don't want to have people like rotting in dungeons with that are like starving and they never see the sun and they're like just like in constant agony. So it's kind of like but then we also don't want to make the prisons like luxury resorts because not only do we not want to like incentivize people to go to prison, but it's also kind of like again those resources could be better spent on like law-abiding citizens. So I feel like there's kind of a middle ground, right? Like a standard for like how we need to treat prisoners to be I don't know ethically what we are required to do for them. I guess you could say.
But do you think like if that person like has no home and he just committed crime just so that he can stay in prison and eat, you know?
Yeah, I mean, some people do that. That is actually a criticism I have of society. Like, I feel like we don't take care of the I guess lower members of society well enough. I mean, I say lower; they're not actually. I don't believe they're actually like inferior, morally speaking. But it's just sort of like I don't know. When you have poor people who can't really afford food and shit, who actually go to prison for the purpose of being able to like have a place to stay and eat, that seems like a problem to me. Like law-abiding citizens who just happen to not have very much money are worse off than actual like convicts. Like I don't know. That's absurd to me in a way. I know it would be.
Yeah.
I know it's more difficult to try and like feed all of the homeless and shit like that, as opposed to just keeping the like I guess percentage of the population that's like criminalistic or what have you in but something has to be done about it. I mean, people have criticisms of welfare or and whatnot, but like, even if you weren't gonna do that, you could have things like soup kitchens, places where people can get a meal if they don't have one, things of that nature. So you could have that as kind of like a public service, I guess you could say. Um,
Yeah. Oh, what do you think about like stores throwing things away after like it's not able to be consumed anymore, or like um expired food?
I mean, I don't think we should be feeding people expired food. That seems a little irresponsible, right? Like they might get sick.
Yeah, but I talked to someone about this, and they said that it's not really expired date. It's like best before a certain date. Like before it happens, the store or restaurant or whatever will throw it away instead of giving them to like soup kitchen or to homeless people.
Yeah, but I guess
What
the
do you
point
think
is
about that?
the reason why they're throwing them away is because they have reason to believe that like it could have negative health consequences. So it's kind of like I don't think we should have a different standard for the soup kitchen as opposed to the stores. Like if we decide that they're not bad yet, then just keep them in the store longer.
I think you're not allowed to like give bad food to people, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
Don't give bad food to people like in the store or to people in soup
but it
kitchens.
said that best before a certain date. It might be good still.
Yeah, so I guess that's the point though, is it's kind of like if you think that the date should be further off, right? Like the time period where it's considered fit for selling should be longer, then yeah, just change that and keep it in the store. But don't like give the shit that's too shitty for the store to the soup kitchens. Like that just seems like I don't know. That seems
Yeah, that's
irresponsible.
is irresponsible, I guess. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't really like. I don't have all the answers. Obviously, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. But that's, I guess, I don't know. I see problems in our society and I bitch about them. That's my expertise.
Bitch about that.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know. I feel like this we should probably kind of wrap this up because I think we've discussed everything that we wanted to. Do you have any final thoughts to say to my audience before we close this off?
I'm not sure what to say to your audience. I don't really know who they are. Can you just explain a little
There's
bit?
there's
who
25.
are who are the people who's gonna watch us
I have
talking about
25
things?
subscribers, so 25 people may potentially. Well, I may get more views than that, just random people. But
I hope you get more.
yeah, I do too. But um, so you don't really have anything.
Yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up.
Well, no, I can wrap it up for you. I wanted to give you a chance to talk if you want.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, so PrinCessS has nothing to say because she can't formulate ideas. I guess you can say. No.
Shut up.
Anyway, but yeah, I'll maybe see you in the next video. I've been really shit at uploading. I apologize. I feel like I gotta like begin every video with an explanation of why I haven't like uploaded shit. Not really an explanation, just because I'm lazy. But be sure
You
to.
should just smile and enjoy your life
I
or
guess. Anyway,
your,
words
I
of
don't know.
wisdom from PrinCessS. No, but so yeah, be sure to like if you did and potentially subscribe. And PrinCessS, you better like this video.
I will, don't worry.
All right then. But yeah, signing off.